Good evening and welcome to Dateline tonight. Hope we are all enjoying the cold weather, and we do pray that in Ocean we do not witness flooding, and we equally pray to God to take charge of areas where they are currently experiencing flooding, destroying property and taking lives. Once again, good evening and welcome to Dateline. Education tonight catches our fancy on our Dateline reports, particularly the recently celebrated Teachers' Day and the unending imbroglio between the federal government and academic staff of universities, also where the Court of Appeal has ordered the striking university teachers to return to classes. We kick off with the admin segment of the package for tonight. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, has called on Nigerians to exercise patience as efforts are being made to address the current fuel scarcity occasioned by the flooding, which led to the destruction of some major roads in some parts of northern states. The chairman of IPMAN Northern Nigeria branch, Alhaji Bashir Damadam, made a call in a statement issued to newsmen today in Kano. Alhaj Damalam disclosed that about 200 trucks loaded with the commodity from Calabar Cross River State were being expected in Abuja and other parts of the northern states for onward distribution to filling stations. The chairman said the trucks were expected to come through Icom, Ogoja, Katsina Ala, Vandikia up to Lafayette to Abuja. The company, in a statement by the group general manager, the NNPC, in a statement by the group general manager, Group Public Affairs Division, NNPC Limited, Garuba Muhammad, said the current queue situation in some parts of Abuja and its environs was as a result of delays in arrival of fuel trucks. He said NNPC Limited, in collaboration with IPMAN, were making frantic efforts to ensure adequate supply and distribution of products, adding that very soon the scarcity will be over as there was enough fuel in stock. President Muhammadu Buhari has been commended for establishing good legacies such as fight against corruption, insurgency, and the recent landmark free and fair conduct of election as witnessed in Ekiti and Osun states. A former permanent secretary in the State Ministry of Finance, Pastor Okeyode Jacob, stated this while speaking with OSBC News. Pastor Okeyode urged Nigerians to be prayerful, supportive, and submissive to the leaders so that their positive dreams can come to pass.
Thinkers, not negative something. The president is trying to leave, according to him, a positive legacy. Let's give him a try. But the people assisting him should assist him to leave positive legacy for Nigerians. With absolute reduction in instability is not possible. But this banditry thing should be reduced. The budget should concentrate on expanding the employment rate, reducing inflation, making the foreign exchange, which I know is a CBN job. The foreign exchange should be predictable and should not be volatile, should not be left totally to the market structure. No.
The finance expert also described budget padding as a malpractice which does not favor any nation, warning the Nigerian government to desist from sabotaging the nation's economy.
It's a negative thing. It will affect, it's corruption. And it's one of the effects that leads to budget imperformance. Budget cannot be achieved. Budget targets, which I said should be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, agreeable, realistic, or time-bound, cannot be achieved if there is budget padding. Because budget padding will increase expenditure with little or no capital expenditure. So you see high financial percentage, maybe 80% financial percentage. And when you go to the ground, you may meet 0% or 10%.
Residents of the southwestern part of the country have been urged to take a lead in selling the candidacy of the All Progressives Congress Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in the forthcoming presidential election. The leadership of the Southwest Agenda Swagger, including the national chairman, Senator Dayo Adeyeye, the state coordinator, Honorable Ayomi Duran, Mr. Oyetunde Ojo, among others, gave that voice while launching the group in Ifelodun, Boripe and Odote, Federal Constituency of Osun State. Saeed Adiboje completes the story.
To an array of dignitaries, most especially those canvassing support for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presidency under the umbrella of Southwest Agenda. Addressing thousands of people that attended the program, National Chairman Southwest Agenda, Senator Dayo Adeyeye, explained that it is expedient for people of Ifelodun, Boripe, and Odote in federal constituency to shun political differences, religious and ethnic bigotry, and ensure that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerged victorious in the next February presidential election. According to him, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has exhibited high leadership qualities when he governed Lagos State, saying that he is ready to create a better Nigeria if supported to win the February presidential election.
I brought the message of hope for them, which Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu represents. Hope for a new Nigeria, hope for a better Nigeria, hope for a new nation, a nation in which some of the problems that we currently experience will disappear by the grace of Almighty God.
Speaking in an interview, one of the leaders of Swagger, Mr. Oyetunde Ojo, stated that the group is ready to gather 50 million votes for Asiwaju Tinubu in the Southwest zone, maintaining that launching of Swagger in the Ifelodun, Boripe, and Odote local government is an attestation of the group's readiness.
But you see, the most important thing is, from this level at the local government level, we employ our supporters and our people to go back to their wards and to their units to talk to the people. They are the messengers in which they are going to carry the message of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to the doorstep of everybody.
Speaking in a separate interview, the Osun State Chairman, Southwest Agenda Swagger, and the chairman of the group in Ifelodun, Boripe, Odote constituency, Prince Adeleke Adebayo, noted that the best candidate that will change the fortunes of Nigeria for better is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They noted that Swagger will reach every household to ensure the victory of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the next presidential election.
What we were doing was sensitization to let people know that Asiwaju would like to become the president, and we wanted party members to support him.
The blueprints he left in Lagos is what they are following to today. So if Lagos can become a mega city, obviously if this man becomes the president of Nigeria, Nigeria will be better than England.
The program featured prayers from royal fathers in the Ifelodun, Boripe, Odote Federal Constituency, led by the Aragbiji of Iragbiji, Oba Abdul Rashid Olabumi Ododon IV. This is Saeed Adiboje reporting for OSBC News.
Meanwhile, the Osun State chapter of the All Progressives Congress APC set for the campaign segment of the local government council elections that are holding this month. A statement by the state chairman of the party, Prince Boyega Famodun, says the inauguration of the flag off of the campaign for the chairmanship, vice chairmanship, and councillorship candidates of the party would hold on Tuesday at the state party secretariat of Ogoluwa Oshogbo in the morning. The statement added that all the aspirants and members of the APC across the state should endeavor to attend the campaign flag off ceremony. The Minister of Interior, Mr. Rauf Aregbesola, says he will meet with state governors to agree on the mass release of at least 30% of inmates from custodial centers across the country. Aregbesola made this known today when he appeared on a forum in Abuja. The minister said that the interface was necessary as more than 90% of the inmates were being held for contravening various state laws. Aregbesola also said that over 70% of the 75,035 inmates at present were awaiting trial. The minister said the federal offenders in the system were far less than 10%, adding that the bulk of the people in custody were those who had run foul of the state laws. He added that they were therefore being kept under the legal jurisdiction of their respective states. The minister clarified that the decongestion of the 253 custodial centers nationwide was necessary as some of the inmates have no reason to remain in custody. Aregbesola therefore said all stakeholders must work towards a better structured criminal justice administration, otherwise the nation will just be left with congested and overcrowded facilities. You're welcome to our sports segment. You're welcome back. Registration for the Asaba 10-kilometer road race has begun online. Organizers have said the race, which is scheduled for November 26th this year in Asaba Delta State, has already attracted a large number of participants, including elite runners across the country. The event, the third of the Community Marathon Series, began in Festac on the 2nd of October last year with over 1,000 participants from across the country. The second edition took place in Lekki on the 29th of January this year and also attracted huge participation, including foreigners who ran for fun. According to guidelines of the event, male and female athletes resident in the country are eligible to participate in the event, which attracts a 2 million naira cash prize. Another foreign rebels from a notorious militia killed at least 10 civilians in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, while some 20 others are missing after the attack. According to a local civil society leader, Patrick Musubao, suspected Allied Democratic Forces militants entered the village of Vido in North Kivu province at night and killed 10 people, including an Anglican pastor. Musubao added that more than 20 people are missing, blaming the attack on the Allied Democratic Forces. A local official, D.D. Isaiah, also blamed the forces and said that fighters had touched 25 houses in the attack. He discussed that authorities had found 11 dead civilians. The ADF has also been accused of slaughtering thousands of Congolese civilians and carrying out bomb attacks in neighboring Uganda. The Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda launched a joint offensive against the ADF in November last year, but the militia continues to wreak havoc across swaths of territories. When I go on a short break, Dateline reports will come your way in a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The International Teachers' Day is a day set aside to celebrate the transformative and critical roles teachers play in growing learners' potentials. This year's celebration was not an exception, as stakeholders seized the opportunity of the day to examine the challenges facing the education sector, as well as the evil effects of examination malpractices which seem to have pervaded the sector. Dateline also focuses on how far the Nigerian government have gone in giving the members of the noble profession the honor they deserve, as well as the challenges ahead. Oluchi Amudana reports.
Teachers' Day, also known as International Teachers' Day, is a day set aside to thank and honor teachers for their contributions to their students. On this day, many also come together and organize meetings, conferences, and search to identify problems being faced by teachers of the country, as well as globally, and find solutions to those issues. The teaching profession is considered as a noble one, upon which every other professions get their foundation. It is the bedrock through which the yearnings, aspirations, and dreams of the people to pursue their lifelong ambitions are realized. Education, which could be formal or informal, provide avenues for the transfer of knowledge in whichever form from generation to generation. In the informal sector of learning, the parents, religious leaders, mass media, community leaders, among others, are involved in the transfer of knowledge about culture, tradition, skills, acquisition, and much more from generation to generation. The process of formal education involved being taught in the four walls of the classrooms by qualified teachers trained to transfer knowledge to the pupils and students in an organized manner.
Running away from teaching profession might not be, the fault might not be likely given to those children. It is given to the government. But however, I think one has to think it in a way that if my mother did not give birth to me, how would I be living? If my father did not meet my mother at a point in time, how will I come to heart? So other professions too. So if teachers do not have any impact on a person, at least somebody who wants to call himself a banker, a lawyer, a doctor, you can only become one of these things by the impact of a teacher. So people should not try to run away from teaching profession.
In the world over, teachers are considered to be highly revered individuals with high moral standing in the society because of the value they add to the people and the leading roles they play in molding future leaders.
50 plus 50 is what? 200. That's how to count in numbers in group of 50.
However, teachers in Nigeria have often feel unappreciated because of the poor condition of service. Those in private schools are most hit by these challenges, despite the fact that many have often argued that no amount of reward can adequately be enough to compensate teachers for the hard work they put into molding future leaders. The secretary of the Nigerian Union of Teachers in Osun State, Comrade Salami Olukayode, however, believed that some of the steps recently taken by President Muhammadu Buhari, which involved the elongation of service years for teachers, as well as the approval of special salary structure, are ways of motivating the members of the noble profession. He also commended Governor Adegboyega Oyetola for approving the implementation of the welfare policy in the state.
Now, the law schools under the Federal Ministry of Education have commenced the implementation. And I want to equally say that in Osun State, last year, May 1st, during the 2021 Workers' Day, Mr. Governor Haji Saka Adegboyega Oyetola equally made that pronouncement for the domestication of that elongation here in Osun State for the teachers.
Despite the nobility of the teaching profession, it has come under strong criticism from members of the public as a result of the high rate of examination malpractices, which have led to the churning out of students who are incapable of defending their certificates. Many have expressed opinions and alleged that teachers are at the forefront of encouraging examination malpractices in the country. A retired teacher, Comrade Shola Adegboyega, said it is regrettable that both public and private schools are guilty of such acts, adding that the blame should equally be laid at the doorsteps of parents. Comrade Adegboyega noted that it is unfortunate that most youth are running away from the teaching profession because of the belief that it is not lucrative enough, saying that such orientation must change.
The teaching, apart from being a noble profession, is a leader for leaders, because it is there we bring out other professions. There's no profession that will come out without having a teacher having one impact or the other on him or her. So we are leaders.
While speaking on the challenges most teachers in public schools are still battling with, the Osun NUT Secretary, Comrade Olukayode, who identified insecurity, the need for training and retraining of teachers, most especially on information and communication technology, ICT, to meet global best practices, as well as shortage of manpower in the public schools as some of the challenges in the education sector. He appealed to government at all levels to keep implementing policies that will place the profession in an enviable position in the society.
Early this year, the Osun State government recruited 1,000 teachers, and presently, as we speak, they are currently on the move to employ another 1,500 to put the total at 2,500. But I still want to say that there is still room to do far more than that 2,500. So we appreciate government on that move, and we are calling on them that that 2,500 is still not near the number of vacancies we have in school.
This year's theme for World Teachers' Day is the transformation of education begins with teachers. Oluchi Amuda, OSBC News.
Yeah, yet on education, no doubt, is the bedrock of every society. No country can progress without a recourse to the education of people, which could be formal or informal. However, the Academic Staff Union of Universities also has embarked on an industrial action for the past 8 months, which seems to have defied solutions as both the government and the union failed to reach a compromise. This has led to the registration of 2 new academic unions by the federal government. The question on the minds of many is, can the new unions put an end to the lingering crisis between ASU and the government, or give a relief to the students suffering from epileptic academic system? In this daily report, Oluwatobelo Baudunuga attempt answers to the question.
Current decimal in the academic calendar of students of higher education in Nigeria, the teaching and non-teaching staff of universities, polytechnic, colleges of education are always taking turns to embark on industrial action whenever they deem it necessary. The latest is a strike action embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, since February this year. The strike actions, mostly blamed on the government's non-implementation of agreements with the academic body, have disrupted the academic pursuit of most Nigerian students, with an estimated 75% graduating later than scheduled. Recall that in 2013, the Academic Staff Union of Universities also declared strike on December 17, 2013, which lasted 6 months over non-implementation of 2009 agreements between the union and the federal government. It was eventually called off after the federal government agreed to some demands of the academic body. Also in 2014, the Academic Staff Union of Universities also embarked on 1-week warning strike over failure by the federal government to implement the 2009 agreement and 2013 Memorandum of Understanding. According to ASU, many aspects of the 2013 MOU and the 2009 agreement with the federal government have either been unimplemented or sparingly handled. The agreements are payment of staff entitlement since December 2015, funding of universities for revitalization, pension, TSA, and university autonomy, and renegotiation of 2009 agreement, while in 2017, the Academic Staff Union of University also declared another strike action, this which lasted 36 days. ASU, however, suspended its strike after a final 4-hour meeting with the federal government delegation, which ended around 9 p.m. in Abuja. ASU maintained that the conditional suspension of the strike, after an elaborate and extensive consultation process, the National Executive Council of ASU has agreed to conditionally suspend the strike action, taking into cognizance that the proposal by the government to address the contentious issues in the strike has a deadline of the end of October 2017. Also in 2019, the Academic Staff Union of University said its members should not be held responsible if there is any disruption in the university system. This, the union said, was because of the federal government had not shown commitment in carrying out the 2009 memorandum action. ASU said reaching agreement with the federal government has often been a frustrating journey for the union. It is often marked with protest, strike, and require a conscious and focused engagement. The 2001 agreement, which gave birth to the 2009 agreement, was not an exemption. While in 2021, ASU on 17th of November announced its plan to embark on another strike in 3 weeks if the federal government continued to renege on the 2020 agreement with the union. The union had accused the federal government of failing to implement the agreement after it called off its 9-month-old strike in December 2020.
I want to plead with him on behalf of Nigerian children who cannot afford it, that the legacy he should leave behind this country is that he transformed Nigerian educational system. Right. I can do it with this our struggle.
Due to the lack of federal government compliance, the Academic Staff Union of University also began a 2-month strike on the 14th of February this year and later extended the strike with another 12 weeks. Till date, ASU is still on strike, making it up to over 7 months that the union has been on strike. Their demands include funding for revitalization of public universities and academic allowances, university transparency accountability solution, and promotion areas. Others were the renegotiation of 2009 ASU federal government agreement and the inconsistency in the integrated personal payroll information system. In all this, the federal government has often engaged in negotiation and renegotiation with the academic body, which often drag for long or hit brick wall. The government, through the Minister of Labour and Productivity, Dr. Chris Ngige, noted that government has met virtually all the demands put before it by the union.
In the UTAS situation, NIDA finished the assessment and put up a report. We all copied the reports, education, finance, and everybody. I called them up and they said they didn't get the reports. So I forwarded the report to them from the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, which NIDA is under. And I said, this is the report, is for your information and necessary action. That's how government works. I sent that on the 12th of December. They now replied, NIDA, through me, in February, about the 2nd of February. So who has wasted time? I took their response again, sent down to NIDA, copied the finance, copied education, copied everybody. This is the response of ASU.
The bone of contention is the refusal of the federal government to agree to the payment of outstanding salaries, bringing up no work, no pay rule. The federal government succeeded in dragging the union to court, where the members had been ordered to go back to the classrooms. The inability of both the federal government and the ASU to reach an agreement has not gone down well with major stakeholders, most especially students and parents who felt that the parties are toiling unduly with the future of their acclaimed leaders of tomorrow. The students under the aegis of National Association of Nigerian Students at some point vowed to make the country ungovernable, particularly now that the general election are around the corner by disrupting party convention and congresses. NANS started carrying out its threats as its members are already carrying out protests and blocking major highways, including airport roads across the country. The lingering industrial action embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of University has become a major source of grave concern to Nigerians who feared that the education may be heading towards total collapse if urgent steps are not taken to address the issues raised by ASU. The federal government at some point dragged their ASU to industrial court, while the industrial court ordered ASU to end the strike and resume duties, but the union refused the industrial court order. The union appealed the judgment, but it also came out in favor of the federal government. In trying to break the powers of the Academic Staff Union of University, ASU, government is employing all the arsenal within our reach, and one of those was the registration of two other unions, Congress of Nigerian University Academics, CONOA, among others. This, the federal government thought, would make the ASU union end the strike. The decision has been attracting diverse reactions from members of the public. Some believe that the government is biting more than it could chew, while others are of the opinion that there is need to cut the excesses of ASU. Speaking on this development, retired teachers including Chief Wale Oyeniyi and Comrade Amos Okunla, among others, condemned the government's decision, saying it amounts to cutting the nose to spite the face. They maintain that recognizing another union is not the way out, adding that the federal government should do everything possible to revive the glory of education system in Nigeria by going back to negotiation table.
I'm less surprised, because if one is following APC from the beginning, then Ngige. You see, this type of people now that don't have anything to offer. How can you, because of strong you want to create another something? What for? So, but I don't blame Ngige. I don't blame the federal government. I blame members. If members are solid, if they are using, nobody can penetrate. And I will say solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. You see, where change not started in abroad, they will be laughing at us. When they see all those type of things, they will just be laughing at us. Because now you are being bribed, you are doing something, you want to go through the struggle of people now. The struggle is not meant for us who president or treasurer or secretary alone. It's for everybody to enjoy.
As a labor leader, I quite disagree with the federal government in doing such a thing. You cannot rob Peter to pay Paul. It's not the best way. Those advising federal government on that line, they are giving federal government wrong advice. The way we have is to have a dialogue with the labor. We have a policy in the labor movement. When you go to a negotiation with the government, you cannot win law. But the government has to sit. The labor has to sit. But where the government is not ready to sit, then what do we want us to do again?
Speaking in favor of the federal government, a public affairs analyst who doubled as a parent, Dr. Soji Akinpelu, corroborated the federal government's decision, saying that they also have overstayed their welcome. Dr. Akinpelu, who expressed worry over the future of education in Nigeria, noted that it is unfortunate that the presumed leaders of the country are wasting away due to no fault of theirs.
Taking their battle too far. If I'm not mistaken, the strike is over 7 months now. Maybe the 8 months is going. Then the session is finished. So, federal government has to do what they can to make sure that they win the battle. And when you want to win a battle, you employ our senators.
Hope, however, seems to be beaming in the education sector following the latest judgment of the appeal court that the Academic Staff Union of University ASU should compulsorily end the industrial strike in order to resume back to school. Many have expressed optimism that the lingering crisis between the federal government, the Academic Staff Union of University ASU, will be ending soon following an emergency meeting by the ASU Union after the appeal court judgment. However, how soon will this be? Only time will tell. Oluwa Tobiloba Odunuga reporting for DATELINE.
Finally, tonight on Dateline is birth on the 12th of Rabiul Awwal, the third of the Islamic calendar in Mecca, was the battle of a total victory of truth over the principalities of falsehood. Prophet Muhammad, the greatest apostle of the Almighty Allah, born to the family of Hashim, who was parented by Abdullah Amina of the clan of Quraysh, is being remembered on the day 12th of every Rabiul Awwal by the Islamic world. What made it distinctly and explicitly gem among others is expressed in this report by Abdul Jalil at DBC.
Continues basking in the euphoria of Maulud Nabi, the birth of Prophet Muhammad, who was born in the city of Mecca to Abdullah and Amina in 571 AD. Prophet Muhammad was born an orphan. His grandfather Abu Talib, who took care of him, died when the Prophet was 80 years old and left in the care of his uncle Abdul Muttalib. Meanwhile, the people of Mecca singled him out as at the age of 25 as a honest, transparent, and trustworthy person. He was 40 years when Almighty Allah chose him as his last messenger, similar to the ordeal of the prophet before him, such as Noah, Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, while the people of Mecca persecuted him and his supporters. Almighty Allah gave Prophet Muhammad the glorious Quran, an encyclopedia of human existence, which is also the divine book that has survived all alteration and manipulations. Prophet Muhammad's message is the message of all the prophets before him, and it has continued to reverberate around the world. Prophet Muhammad's lifestyle has been recommended for both leaders and the led, especially as it showcases humility and commitment to the emancipation of humanity from guilt, which made Almighty Allah to name him the best among human race as contained in the Holy Quran. An Islamic cleric, Ustaz Abdul Wahid Badmos, stated this while speaking with OSBC News.
The legacy he left is a good conduct. And he also told us that the reason why Allah sent him to entire humankind is to perfect their morals and to show them the right way to follow in terms of their morals and characters. So as we Muslims, what we need to do, not only on this particular day and not only on this particular month, that we should be remembering Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we should be remembering him in all our dates. If you want to do this, think about the way Prophet Sallallahu did his own while he was alive. If you want to talk about a particular thing, think about the way Prophet Sallallahu did that, because he lived an exemplary life. And that is why he is not being forgotten today.
Ustaz Badmos also urged Nigerian leaders to emulate how the Prophet of Allah quench the effects of insurgencies and other security challenges bedeviling the country, saying love for one's country is half of the faith.
He was a peacemaker, and that is why the entourage of Medinites in Yathrib, they came down to him to invite him to come and be a kind of a ruler in their domain, because they know that he is a just ruler. So they invited him, and when he got there, the first thing he did, the first assignment he performed was to settle the dispute between the House and Khazraj sect of people in Medina. So as a leader in our country, as a leader in our state, as a leader in our local governments, as a leader in anywhere you find yourself in your domain, you need to imbibe this good quality of being a peacemaker. When you see people...
In his own view, another Islamic scholar, Alhaji Roji Qasim, urged Muslim world, especially Nigerian politicians, to take a cue from the scheme of governance of Holy Prophet Muhammad, saying the Prophet ruled in consonance with the Holy Quran and never deviated. He enjoined the contestants in the forthcoming elections to promise just what they can afford to execute and operate with the Constitution. According to Alhaji Qasim, the electorate should be convinced by how they can address the lots of challenges being faced by Nigerians. The scholar also advised the contestants to emulate the selflessness in the character of Prophet Muhammad, saying that is what gives them popularity and political strength that can guarantee their victory in the election.
We have to emulate from the governance, from the system. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to govern the people then. Prophet was not a totalitarian leader, was not a tyrant. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not a wicked leader. Likewise, the system that we have to operate in our democratic setting, democratic governance, are the majority involved, are the majority ruling, are the majority opinion accorded, are the people and vulnerables, the citizens accorded to the system, to the constitution, to the manifesto.
He also called on Muslims to learn how to make people, irrespective of their faith, culture, political, or socio-economic background, which he said is part of the teachings of Holy Prophet Muhammad.
Being a democratic nation, what is the essence of being ruling and being elected to the corridor of power? You are not there and you are not going there. Those who are there are those who are aspiring to be there for your own selfish interest. You are to rule Nigeria. You are to bring very reasonable opinion, very reasonable impact, very reasonable comfort to the midst of the people's livelihood.
Abdul Jalil at DBC reporting for Dateline.
With our here's Dateline on OSBC television for tonight and of course for this week, we thank you for watching. It was produced by Babatunde Bolatito with Abdul Jalil at DBC as a production assistant. I am Oluwatoyin Yusuf. Good night.
Afrobeats, the time is now. The hunt for the new Afrobeat superstar begins. From over 4,000 contestants,